If your soul feels tired and the world around you seems quiet yet your heart feels heavy, then pause for a moment and simply breathe. This message is not meant for the noise in your mind, but for the soft and silent space within you that you may have forgotten. Sometimes everything appears fine on the outside. You smile, you carry on, you do what needs to be done. But deep within, there is a quiet ache, a restlessness, a storm that no one else can see. Your thoughts move like leaves caught in wind, and the silence around you begins to feel louder than words. If any of this feels familiar, then know that you are not alone. You are not broken, and you are not lost. In the teachings of the Buddha, we are reminded that healing does not come from the outside. It begins within. The peace you are searching for, the strength you feel missing, and the love you once knew have never truly left you. They are waiting patiently inside of you, untouched by the noise of the world. So today we begin a gentle walk inward, not to fix or change, but simply to return. Together we will explore 10 timeless truths inspired by Buddhist wisdom. These are not just teachings, they are quiet medicine for a weary heart. They are soft lights for dark moments. Let this not be just another video, but a calm space where your emotions are safe and your spirit can breathe again. Close your eyes just for a moment. Inhale slowly. Feel that breath as it enters. That is the beginning of healing. You are enough. You are worthy of peace. You are worthy of love. And you are worthy of returning to yourself. Now, with the guidance of the Buddha, let us take the first step together into stillness and gentle self-respect. Lesson 1. Nothing stays forever, and that is our hope. Pain often convinces us that we are frozen in place, as if the world has moved on, but we are stuck behind in a moment that refuses to end. It can feel like the sorrow is endless, like the emptiness will never soften. But one quiet truth flows through all of life. Nothing stays the same. Everything changes. You may have lived through days that felt too long, nights that wrapped around you with no light in sight. You may have whispered to yourself, will this ever ease? Will I ever feel alive again? And yet while you asked those questions, the world kept moving. The sun rose again, the seasons shifted, the leaves turned color, and the wind carried on. In every part of nature, we see the same message. Everything is always becoming something else. This is the teaching of impermanence, a truth the Buddha shared again and again. No emotion, no storm, no moment of despair can remain forever. It only feels endless when we are standing in the middle of it. But just as winter softens into spring, your pain too will begin to melt. One morning, you will wake up, and the weight that has sat on your chest will feel lighter. It may not vanish all at once, but it will no longer hold you the way it did. Even the longest night must eventually give way to the light. And so it will be with your suffering. This moment you are living is not the whole of your life. It is only one chapter. What feels unbearable now is shaping the strength that will carry you forward. Struggles are not meant to break you. They are meant to deepen your roots and awaken your resilience. When you feel overwhelmed and everything seems still, remember this one truth. Nothing is permanent. What you are feeling right now is only a wave passing through the ocean of your life. And in that movement, there is hope. In that change, there is healing. In that constant flow lies your chance to begin again. Lesson 2. Make space for your pain without running from it. Healing does not come when we pretend we are fine. It begins the moment we stop running and say quietly to ourselves, yes, this hurts. Like a soft candle lit in the darkest room, healing starts in silence and grows in truth. Most people carry wounds that no one sees. We smile through our days while something inside feels heavy and unfinished. We keep ourselves busy with noise and distraction, hoping the pain will go away on its own. But pain does not leave when we ignore it. It waits patiently for us to notice it. In the teachings of the Buddha, we are reminded that whatever we avoid will keep returning. Pain is not a punishment, and it is not here to destroy you. It is here because something within you is asking to be seen. When we stop asking why pain has come and instead ask what it wants to teach us, something begins to shift. That is the beginning of wisdom. Sit with your pain even if it speaks only through silence. Let it be present without trying to change it. Do not treat it like an enemy, but like a messenger carrying something you once buried. The more space you give it, the softer it becomes. You may begin to see that pain is not a threat, but a part of you that wants to return home. Real strength is not found in pretending that you are fine. It is found in admitting that you are hurting and still choosing to grow. Every pain you carry holds a lesson. Every scar is part of your story. And the cracks you feel inside are not signs of failure. They are openings through which light can enter. You do not need to be perfect or whole or healed all at once. You only need to be honest. In the gentle acceptance of your brokenness, you begin the journey back to your true self. And from that place, healing becomes possible. Lesson 3. Heal by returning to yourself with kindness. True healing does not begin when others notice you or offer their affection. It begins when you choose to treat yourself with gentleness and care. So often we find ourselves falling apart over simple moments. A cold reply, a missed message, a forgotten gesture. These things hurt not only because of what others did, but because of what they awaken within us. Feelings of doubt, fear, and the quiet belief that we are not enough. But the deepest wound is not caused by others withholding love. It is caused by how often we forget to love ourselves. We seek approval from the outside, hoping someone will make us feel complete. Yet we turn away from our own needs. We silence our own pain. We abandon ourselves in search of someone else's embrace. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that just as we are worthy of love. Not after we improve or succeed or change, but now in this moment. You are not broken or incomplete. You are simply disconnected from your own presence. Imagine how your life might feel if you treated yourself with the same care you offer to those you cherish. What if each morning began not with harsh judgment, but with a quiet kindness? What if your mistakes were not carried as shame, but held as lessons? What if instead of waiting for someone else to see your worth, you chose to see it for yourself? This is not pride. It is quiet strength. Self-compassion is not about indulgence. It is about being willing to stay present with your own heart. It means not abandoning yourself when things feel hard. It means listening to your emotions and holding space for them without running away. When you begin to care for yourself from within you, no longer fear being alone. You stop searching for constant reassurance. You begin to grow roots in the soil of your own being. You become your own shelter. And in that place, healing begins to blossom. So the next time you feel unseen or tired from seeking validation, pause for a moment. Take a breath. And gently remind yourself that you are enough, that you are seen, that you are loved. In that moment, you will feel the quiet strength of someone who has returned home to themselves. And from that place, no wound is too deep to heal. Lesson 4. Finding the medicine hidden in silence. True healing does not always come from effort or action. Sometimes it arises when we stop doing and simply begin being. In a world that constantly urges us to go faster, to reach more, to be more, we forget the quiet truth that stillness can be the most powerful teacher. We move through life chasing tasks, people, and distractions. Our minds stay busy, not just with the noise around us, but with the endless voices within. We rarely pause. We rarely listen. But maybe what we are looking for is not in the next step forward. Maybe it waits in the space we never visit, the space within. Buddhist teachings remind us that a calm mind is the root of happiness, and calmness begins with silence. It is only in the quiet that we can truly hear what lies beneath the surface. When you let go of everything for a moment and close your eyes, you will notice how unfamiliar stillness feels. At first, silence can be uncomfortable. Thoughts rise. Old feelings surface. The mind resists. But this is where true transformation begins. When we stop running from ourselves, we begin to meet ourselves. Somewhere within the silence, a soft voice begins to speak. It does not demand attention. It whispers gently. You are not lost. You are simply weary. Come home to yourself. That voice is not your fear. It is your inner knowing, and it has been patiently waiting for you. Sitting in silence is not always easy, but it is sacred. As you stay present in stillness, your inner tension begins to dissolve. You start to see beyond the layers of stress and confusion. Fear loosens its grip. Your vision clears, and what once felt heavy becomes light again. This is the space where healing truly begins. Not in escaping what is difficult, but in facing it with presence. When the world feels too loud or too fast, dare to stop. Sit quietly. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Let yourself return to the silence that has always been within you. There you will find that peace was never something to chase. It was always there, patiently waiting for you to be still enough to notice. Lesson 5. The present moment is where life truly lives. Real peace does not come from digging through what has already passed or trying to predict what has not yet arrived. It is born in the stillness of this very breath. Often, we wake up carrying the weight of yesterday. Our bodies may move through the day, but our thoughts remain tangled in what was or what could have been. And when night falls, instead of resting, we are haunted by worries about what tomorrow might bring. This is the quiet suffering many carry, being here but not truly present, alive but not fully living. The Buddha gently reminded us that life exists only in the now. Yet we spend our days reliving regrets, creating stories from pain, and imagining fears that have not yet come true. All while the present moment slips away unnoticed. Ask yourself this: can you change the past by holding on to it? Can you control the future by fearing it? The answer is no. All we ever really own is the now. This breath, this heartbeat, this very moment. Healing begins when we come back to reality. Not the story in our mind, but the living moment before us. Feel your breath as it rises and falls. Hear the sounds that surround you. Feel the ground beneath your feet. This is your doorway back to presence. This is not about forgetting your past or ignoring what lies ahead. It is about choosing not to miss what is already here. Every passing second is a piece of your life that will never return. And when you begin to honor this moment, everything within you begins to shift. Your mind quiets, your heart softens, and you begin to heal. Not because life suddenly became perfect, but because you stopped running from the only place where life ever truly happens. So when your mind pulls you toward what was, or pushes you into what might be, pause gently. Ask yourself if you are missing what is here. Then take a breath. Look around. Feel the presence within you. Say to yourself, I am here. I am awake. This moment is enough. Lesson 6. Trace the pain to its roots. The Buddha once shared a truth so simple, yet often forgotten. All pain has a cause, and when we truly see that cause with clarity, the suffering slowly begins to fade. Imagine this not through the story of saints or sages, but through someone ordinary, someone like you and me. There was once a young boy named Arjun. One day in school he made a small mistake. It should have been a moment for learning, but instead his father scolded him harshly in front of everyone. The sound of laughter filled the room. Shame rushed in like a flood. The moment passed, but something inside him remained untouched, unhealed. Years went by. Arjun graduated, found a good job, and built a life that looked whole from the outside. But every time someone offered even the gentlest criticism, a wave of anxiety would rise within him. His hands would shake, his voice would falter, his confidence would vanish. People told him he was too sensitive, but no one saw the wound buried beneath. A scar he never named, a story he never told himself. The Buddha once said that when the roots of a tree dry up, its branches cannot flourish. And in the same way, when we ignore the origin of our emotional pain, our outer world may seem intact, but deep within, something begins to decay. So what do? Distract ourselves. Pretend everything is fine. Force a smile or repeat empty affirmations. These may soothe the surface, but healing does not come from running. It comes from stillness. It begins the moment we stop and ask ourselves, where did this begin? Why does this wound still bleed? What moment did I never fully face? Maybe someone you trusted broke your heart. Maybe your dreams were laughed at. Or maybe the pain began the moment you stopped believing in yourself. And instead of confronting it, you hid it deep. But pain that is hidden does not disappear. It waits. It whispers. It shapes the way you see the world and the way you treat yourself. The Buddha reminded us that to understand is to be free. And freedom begins not with escape, but with awareness. When you ask, what is the true source of my suffering, you light a small but powerful lantern within. It will not always be easy. It may not bring applause, but it brings truth. And in truth, there is the beginning of liberation. Lesson 7. Let go of the illusion of comparison. Have you ever felt like you were running a race you never signed up for? One moment, you're simply living your life. And the next, you're drowning in images of perfect vacations, flawless relationships, and success stories that seem just out of reach. You didn't ask for it, but somehow you found yourself comparing your behind-the-scenes life to everyone else's carefully edited highlights. Comparison doesn't come with a warning sign. It doesn't shout when it enters your mind. It whispers. It slips in when you're tired, when you're vulnerable, when you're scrolling through your phone late at night. It pretends to be harmless, just a little curiosity. But over time, it becomes something else. It becomes a habit that slowly drains your self-worth. The truth is, no one else can walk your path. You are not here to chase someone else's timeline or mirror someone else's life. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. When you measure your life by someone else's progress, you erase the power of your own transformation. You forget the days you chose to keep going when giving up would have been easier. You ignore the courage it took to face your darkness in silence. You miss the beauty of your small victories, the ones no camera ever captured. You see, the moon never envies the sun. The lotus doesn't rush to bloom before the others. Nature understands something we often forget. Everything unfolds in its own time. So breathe. Take your eyes off their path and turn inward. Ask yourself, what if your journey is not meant to look like theirs? What if your timing is sacred, not slow? The Buddha didn't teach us to run toward perfection. He taught us to return to presence. He reminded us that peace begins when we stop comparing, and joy returns when we start appreciating what we already are. Today you have a choice. You can keep chasing shadows, or you can stand still and recognize your own light. Choose to stop scrolling through someone else's life like it holds the answers. Choose to trust your own process. Choose to honor the truth of your becoming. Because the moment you stop measuring yourself against others, you finally see the miracle of your own growth. And once comparison fades, you're ready to take the next step on the healing path. Learning how to meet yourself with compassion, not just for your mistakes, but for the moments you didn't know better, the moments you were simply surviving. And that begins with forgiveness. Lesson 8. Forgiveness is the path to inner freedom. Have you ever held on to pain so tightly that it began to define who you were? Maybe it was a betrayal that left you silent, or a memory that returns again and again, whispering blame and anger into your thoughts. Perhaps it wasn't even someone else but you carrying regret like a shadow, too heavy to outrun. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is strength in its quietest form. It is not surrendering to the person who hurt you. It is releasing yourself from the prison they left behind. Buddha understood the depth of human suffering. He taught that forgiveness is not something we owe to others. It is something we owe to ourselves. A deep, cleansing breath for the soul that has been suffocating under the weight of old wounds. We live in a world where pain often gets recycled. Someone hurts you, so you hold on to it. You replay the story. You harden your heart. You wait for an apology that may never come, thinking that somehow your silence will balance the scales. But ask yourself, has holding on to the anger ever made you feel whole again? Or has it only made you more tired, more bitter, more distant from the peace you deserve? Holding on to pain is like wrapping your heart in chains and wondering why it can't beat freely. The longer you carry that burden, the more it robs you of joy, of love, of presence. Forgiveness is not about forgetting. It is about choosing to no longer be controlled by what hurt you. It's standing in your truth and saying, this pain happened, but it no longer owns me. And the one person we often forget to forgive is ourselves. For the mistakes we made when we didn't know better. For the paths we didn't take. For the words we wish we could unsay and the chances we let pass by. Self-forgiveness is not self-pity. It's self-liberation. It's realizing that your past doesn't have to be your prison. It can be your teacher. And from that lesson, a new self can rise, one that is softer, wiser, and more awake. So today, take a moment, sit with your pain, and then gently begin to let it go. Not because the past was fair, not because the wound didn't matter, but because your peace matters more. To forgive is to free the future. And when you choose forgiveness not just for them, but for yourself, you begin to walk with lighter steps, a clearer mind, and a heart that is no longer burdened by yesterday. Forgiveness isn't about anyone else. It's about you, your healing, your peace, your return to the present. And once you choose to forgive, you no longer need to fight your pain. You learn to face it with compassion. That is when true healing begins. Lesson 9. Live fully in the present. There's a kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from lifting heavy things or running miles. It's the tiredness that lives in your head, a constant stream of thoughts racing forward and backward, regret from yesterday, fear for tomorrow, while the present moment silently slips away. Most people live this way without realizing they're missing something priceless. They're awake, but not truly alive. The Buddha once said that the key to peace is not hidden in some distant temple or mountaintop. It's in this moment, right now, if only we choose to be present. This is the heart of mindfulness. It's not limited to sitting cross-legged in silence. It's about showing up fully in your life, right where you are. Start by asking yourself, how do you begin your day? Most people reach for their phones before they even take their first breath of the day. Before gratitude, before intention, they dive headfirst into noise. But imagine a different start. Imagine waking up and just lying there for a second, feeling the softness of your pillow, the air filling your lungs, the quiet around you. No rush, just awareness. As you rise, bring your attention to the simple things. When brushing your teeth, feel the texture of the bristles, the coolness of the water, the scent of the toothpaste. These are not chores. They're invitations to return to your senses, to ground yourself in the now. This same awareness can follow you into every part of life. When you eat, do so without scrolling or rushing. Look at your food, smell it, taste it. Behind each bite is sunlight, rain, farmers, hands that prepared it. Eating becomes not just nourishment but gratitude. And in that space of gratitude, peace quietly enters. Even walking can be transformed. Most of the time we walk like we're running late, even when we're not. But what if you walked just to walk? Felt your feet touching the earth, noticed the breeze brushing your skin, walked as if each step was a prayer. Slowly, your thoughts start to quiet. Your body begins to relax. You no longer feel pulled in 1,000 directions. When you work, try doing one thing at a time. Give that task your full attention, not because it's urgent, but because it's present. You'll find yourself finishing more with less stress. And strangely, success comes not by chasing it, but by being fully present with what you're doing. Mindfulness also reshapes how we connect with others. Most people don't listen, they wait for their turn to talk. But the next time someone speaks to you, truly listen. Not just to their words, but to their emotions, their pauses, their silence. Let them feel heard. In that presence, relationships deepen and hearts soften. At first, this may feel unnatural. The mind has been trained to jump from one worry to the next. But with practice, the present begins to feel like home. You'll notice moments stretch longer. Life will stop feeling like a blur. And beneath the noise, you'll rediscover your own steady rhythm. Peace was never something outside of you. It was always here, hiding beneath your busy thoughts. With mindfulness, you uncover it. One breath, one step, one moment at a time. The more you live in the now, the more beautiful life becomes. The ordinary becomes sacred, and you begin to understand what it truly means to be alive. Lesson 10. Begin each morning with a quiet revolution. Each morning arrives with a quiet invitation, not one of loud change, but of subtle transformation. It asks nothing of your past. It holds no judgment about the mistakes of yesterday. It simply shows up, gentle and golden, whispering the truth that today is untouched, unspoiled, and entirely yours. But so often, we bring the weight of yesterday into this fresh day. The arguments, the disappointments, the fears, we let them bleed into the morning like ink on a page that was meant to be blank. And then we wonder why nothing feels new. You don't need to carry your past like armor. The world doesn't expect you to be the same person today that you were yesterday. In fact, it's offering you something radical, a clean slate. With every sunrise, life gives you permission to begin again. Not just in theory, but in practice. You can choose to be softer, to be slower, to forgive more easily, to smile more freely. Imagine waking up and truly letting go, not just in words, but in the stillness of your heart. Imagine starting the day not by checking notifications or rushing into routine, but by breathing in silence, by sitting in the company of your own presence. That's not weakness, that's power. That's how healing begins. We've been trained to believe that change comes with big decisions and dramatic gestures, but the deepest shifts often happen quietly, in the spaces between breaths, in the choice to start fresh, in the refusal to be trapped by yesterday's narrative. Buddha taught that every morning is a rebirth. This isn't just poetry, it's a practice, a spiritual reality. When you wake, the world is born again in your eyes. You're not obligated to live today the way you did the day before. You're free to step into awareness, to return to love, to become a sanctuary for peace. Let go of what you didn't finish. Release the conversations that hurt. Free yourself from the guilt of not being perfect. Perfection was never the goal, presence is. And each morning gives you a sacred doorway to return to it. Close your eyes. Inhale slowly. As the breath fills your chest, say to yourself, today, I will not be ruled by the shadows of the past. Today, I will be gentle. I will be honest. I will be present. I will meet life with open hands. Because the truth is, you are not behind. You are not broken. You are not late. You are exactly where you are meant to be. And every sunrise is a reminder that life believes in you, again and again. Conclusion. Every day holds the power to begin again. But the question is, will you take that first step? Or will you let old energy steal your new moments? You have the strength to pause, to breathe, and to return to peace. Let the teachings of Buddha guide you not just in thought, but in the way you live each moment. If this message touched your heart and reminded you of your inner strength, then this channel is your home. Subscribe now and join a growing community seeking peace, clarity, and deeper understanding. Like the video if it resonated with you, and share it with someone who might need a fresh beginning. Remember, every morning is a new path, and you were born to walk it with grace.